Welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Juan Eklage, and joining us in studio is Brian Jaftha of the Ganja Users of Namibia, GAN. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Juan, for having me on your show and for always keeping the story around cannabis current and relevant.
You are looking for you brought an application to the High Court for the decriminalisation of cannabis. What motivated you to bring this application to the High Court?
Yeah, first of all, my name is Brian. I'm the president of Ganja Users of Namibia. I'm also the president of the Rastafari United Front. The reason for us to bring this matter in front of the court is because we feel like in our organization that this policy, this act itself is outdated, and because it's outdated, it's violating the rights of Namibians, it's violating the rights of Rastas. So we thought, no, we need to fight this policy. We need this policy to be scratched from our constitution, from the Criminal Procedure Act, because it's outdated. Remember, this policy, it's Act 41 of 1971. It's as you can hear, it's apartheid policy. It comes straight from hell. It comes straight from apartheid. We rubber stamp it, and then we implement it on our people, meaning that our people, our government did not really apply their mind on it. They took it straight from there, and we all know that apartheid was a wicked era. It was an era that did not really like our people. They don't like black people, so they made all these laws to impoverish us and to put us in jail and to downgrade us. So now that we are in power, we feel like we need to take charge. We need to for us, by us, we need to really to look into that all this way that we are coming from, these policies that we have made, the ones that not reach our expected results. We must not shy away from modifying it or changing it, because some of them are very oppressive, some of them are marginalizing, especially the Rastas, where we get profiled and so forth. So that is the reason we thought, no, we need to bring this to the lawmakers, especially the five main ones that we have summoned: the Ministry of the Prosecutor General, and the Inspector General of the Police, and the Ministry of Justice. We also summoned the Ministry of Health and Social Services, plus the Namibian government. We think that they are the ones that is actually holding the progress of our country when it comes to industrial use of cannabis, as well as medicinal, and the usage and the recreational. So that's why we approached the High Court.
We've seen with the land indigenization bill, a process was followed to seek public support and have it go through
public consultations.
Through public consultation, we know that the National Assembly is looking at it. Why did you not consider that avenue as a starting point?
We might as well also do that, but we think that all the fronts, because there is a legal way, and there's also like we recently found out that cannabis in Namibia is actually legalized since 2003. Was it President Buamba's time? President Buamba made sure that cannabis get legalized, medicinal cannabis get legalized by actually giving people permits and licenses through the medicine and regulatory council. So already 2003, people could use cannabis for medicinal purposes. It's just that the judiciary, because it's separation of powers, the judiciary, they through the CPA, the Criminal Procedure Act, they prohibited the whole plant as it is in its whole form, the usage, the cultivation, the dealing, and as well as the possession. So we feel like these two institutes, they contradict each other. The one say that cannabis is and you can't have a user if you don't have a dealer. It's impossible.
Yeah, but to go back to what I asked you, looking at following a different route, why did you not consider giving way to that route first, just as a means to gauge public interest in the matter?
Like I said, the courts, we think the judiciary is more when we come to policies, is more blind, because the courts don't work with hunches, with feelings. The court works with facts and evidence. We feel that the court is more equal platform. It's more a platform that we can really voice and feel like someone is actually listening to you. That's why we like the courts. Yeah.
At a consultative level, have you, if at any, had discussions around this matter, whether be it informal or formal, with either the Namibian police, the Prosecutor General, and the Ministry of Health, just to sort of motivate your stances on this very matter?
Yes, we did approach them on a personal level, like the police and the Ministry of Health and the Justice Minister, to say that, listen, we have this policy here, but we see that there is very little from their side. They don't really take the matter serious, and that's why we feel like the court bring us on an equal stand, where they really, like, now they are summoned, they have no other choice, they have to answer. That's why we felt like the court was the best way.
So you're saying that the reception from the side of
the government was very poor. They don't, they feel like we are undermining their intellectuality, but it's not true. We just feel like that the policies that they are ruling us with is outdated. We need to bring our own things in. We need to decide for ourselves. We can't rely on apartheid policies, because we know in apartheid policies the devil is in details.
Have there been attempts from your side to engage the Law Reform Commission with regards to this issue?
We also approached them, and actually, because we approached them, that's why they come to a conclusion to say that no, they have to review this, because now they don't really have any teeth, because they did not make this law. They found it like that and they rubber stamp it. So there's nothing they can really say. But even if we come to the same conclusion as the apartheid era, at least this time around we applied our mind. We did it ourselves. We don't rely on the apartheid laws. So that was the main story behind it. We want our government to apply their own mind. We don't care what the recommendations are or the outcomes are, but as long as our government apply their own minds, we can't rely on these the devils of the past.
Last year in Parliament, there were various debates on abortion and the issue of cannabis came up when the parliamentarian Jerry Ganja said made reference to the use of cannabis leads people to acting like the words used. The word used at the time was Malala pipes, and there's this connotation that the use of cannabis leads to generally bad behavior in public. Your reaction to utterances like that?
That's why we need the law reform to look in this, because all these things they talk about is not scientifically proven. There is no record that they can say that cannabis did this and cannabis. Cannabis is mind altering. It has psychoactive effects. It is therapeutic, but it does not mean it's in a bad way, you know. And currently in the existence of human beings, for the first time, we actually don't die so much from wars and violence and diseases than we die from suicides. Suicide is the main killer amongst the people in the world. So it shows you that the world have a mental problem. The world have a mental problem. So we need these therapeutics that is psychoactive. So this is the right time for cannabis to come up, and for them to say that cannabis is a gateway drug. I always say that yes, it's a gateway drug out of other drugs, not into other drugs, because cannabis is more it puts you more in a relaxed mood. Yes, the damage it can done, it's not so big, because the prohibition itself is causing more damage than the substances itself. We are putting young adults, like youths, in jail for nothing, just because of in Afrikaans you say put in a blar, just because of cannabis head. We put them in prison. They lose they get a record. They can't go nowhere. Their future is destroyed by the state in the name of war against drugs. You know, so we have to look into it, and the resources we use, the government resources we use on this prohibition is too much. We can use that things for more relevant use. The government can use it for something else than to waste it on this fight against, because it's a losing battle they are fighting. You know, currently cannabis is the most popular illicit drug in Namibia. And why is it like that? It's because we have indigenous. Our indigenous people have a history with this plant. It is only for 100 years that this plant has been now illegal, taken off from our diet, or our table, our food table, because of the prohibition. It used to dominate our food table more than 50% through, because the way you assess cannabis is, or any drug for that matter, you actually check it, because we have a social responsibility, and we want to act it out through the SDG, through the Sustainable Developing Goals. So how do you assess this drug is to check cannabis. Out of the 17 goals, 15 of these goals, cannabis is directly patterning into them. Out of the 169 targets of the Sustainable Developing Goals, 69 of them, cannabis is patterning indirectly. I can make the first example
to wrap up before we go for a commercial break, just briefly. I'm saying just briefly to wrap up.
Yes,
the point.
I wanted to say that just to mention 5 of these goals, we started with poverty. Through industrialization and through cannabis products that it makes, we can stop the poverty and hunger. The seed itself have nutritional values, and education. I mean, if you know how to make ropes with cannabis, if you know how to make bricks, if you know how to make medicinal, it's very educative. And gender equality, through the jobs that we are creating, everything we can. That's how cannabis, how you access a drug.
Thank you. We'll have more on this, but we are quickly going to go for a short commercial break. Please do stay tuned.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Evening Review. You've brought this court application. Where in this process are we currently with regards to your fight for the decriminalisation of cannabis?
Okay, we were on our way to plea and trial from case management, but now they let the case Sendai stay in prosecution because they felt that the case is on two levels, and the outcome of the other level is affecting this platform, which is now the High Court. So the both parties, that is now us, the plaintiff and the defendants, we have decided to say no. Let's hear what the outcome is, so that we cannot come to a verdict while the law reform have another. And I think that's a very good move from the government side through the Law Reform and Developing Commission of Namibia, because it shows, like I said, it shows that our government is actually taking responsibility. It's manning up. It's taking charge, because all the time we were not in charge. We were ruling our people with laws that we have inherit from the apartheid system. But this time around, they will apply their mind. They might as well also do studies around, and so actually if the minister or Jerry Akanjo next time talks, he will talk with facts, not like he did previously.
Just to give context, you said that the Law Reform and Development Commission is looking at it. What exactly is happening in that regard? Because you mentioned two parallel cases. Just to give context to the first one, what is happening on that end?
You say I mentioned two cases.
Yeah, you said there were two. You are waiting for the outcome of one matter.
No, it's one matter.
Yeah.
It's one matter, but I'm saying it's heard on two platforms.
Oh, okay.
The first platform is the High Court, and then the second one is the Law Reform, that platform also. So we don't want to make choices in the one platform while the outcome of the other platform is influencing this. So we'll rather wait for the Law Reform to come with recommendations, and then see that maybe there's no need for us to proceed with the case.
The level of engagement from the Law Reform and Development Commission, is there any sort of feedback that you are getting as an interested party?
Yes, they do open up they are one of the institutions that really open up their doors to us. Like we have our fellow activists like Angela. Angela, she wrote letters to them. We wrote letters to them, and I think because of that letters, that's why they decided to. So they are really helpful, and except that they are helpful towards us, they are also cleaning their side by manning up, by taking responsibility, by taking charge of this prohibition concerning cannabis, because it's a very important thing. Our people are going to jail like flies. You say that you are protecting us from ourselves by putting us in prison just because you found me with a Bali. Now I'm amongst prisoners, and as an adult, that's an adult choice. I have freedom of determination, of thought. The government cannot tell me what to put in my mouth or how to wear or how to sleep. That's an adult choice. As long as I don't do it in public, as long as I don't do it in front of children, I think even to smoke a spliff on my couch is safer than driving in a taxi nowadays. So we really have to. And if you say that cannabis is killing, sugar is killing, people are dying from diabetes, but I don't see anyone going to jail for eating sweets. So we really have to check into this to see that what is adult choice. And also, there's this prohibition don't make exemption for religious use of cannabis. There's people using cannabis religious, and there's for cultural use, So the law people have to look into it to see that all these people are accommodated.
Now, and then my last question. In the event you do not get a favorable outcome from the High Court, or the recommendations that come from the Law Reform and Development Commission are not favorable to your cause. How then do you go about, how would you go about this matter?
Because we know that this matter, our law is the same like South African law. And if we check in the South African context, we see that all these things, the case law studies, all these things has been fight before. So it's impossible that we can come, even though we have sovereignty of our country, we still fall under the same policies. So I don't think that our lawmakers can come to another conclusion than what have happened in South Africa. Either they gave us for privacy, because they don't have any grip on privacy. I'm an adult. I can decide what I put. And by doing it myself, there's no harm for the public. You can't say for public safety or what. I'm in my house, I'm on my couch, no one is there. So there is no public story there. It's an adult. So for dealing and public use, that is something else. But when it comes to my privacy in my home, and also now the other parties, we have to look into dealing, because this is a cash crop. Like I said, since the ancient of days, we've been living from this. It's been clothing us, it's been educating us, it's been feeding us. You know, the apartheid system knew about it. Mr. Daniel, Mr. Peter Stuyvesant, Mr. Rothman, they knew that this wonder plan is taking the attention away from them. So they had to put prohibitions on it so that they can sell their tobacco, you see. So that is also how this thing was politicized or monopolized, you know. So we have to take back our cash crop, because it's an income generating product of us, this one. And it can also help our government in these times of financial stress we are. Geographically, we can produce the best cannabis in the world. The whole world is waiting for us. So we need to step up to the occasion. Our president need to look into it. It's taboo those times that people were, because you know, remember why cannabis, our elders don't want to mention this, because they went to jail for it. So it was a tough thing for them, even if they know that this thing have medicinal properties, they don't want to. Even nowadays, I guess you want to take a puff, but
No, I'm fine.
Because of the prohibition, it's tough, you know. So we really need to check into this policy.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Evening Review.
Thank you very much, brother, for having me here.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.
Oh.